What's up, everybody? Coach Stefan here. I'm here with Coach Mike. I know I normally do these Facebook lives just with me, but I want to give you guys some insight into Pursuit because these are our coaches. Mike's our head in-person coach, but he also coaches a ton of online. And the reason I brought Mike on is because really he's probably the biggest specialist within our coaching because we have Mike, Bryce, Riley, and Tyler. So we have four other coaches besides me. But he specializes probably more than anybody in like tactical training. So he's working with a lot of current clients that are getting in shape for CPAT tests, AFCT, Air Force PT test, you name it. He's also been on a couple seasons of Surviving Man, which is a Navy SEAL survival show. Mike's been training for 13 years. He's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I'm an old purple belt.
Old purple belt. Dude's a badass. He's very, very, even the way that he trains is very tactical fitness. He used to fight professionally for Muay Thai. So king of like all around, right? Being strong and having good cardio and being flexible and mobile. And he kind of does it all. So I thought, who better to bring on and kind of talk about how to better prepare for your PT test. So we're going to share a training like I've been doing the past couple of weeks. Do I just share a document with you and we're going to type as we go? Don't judge my typing skills, but I want Mike to kind of talk to you about a couple things. Number one, his real life experience with clients we are training right now today in the program and how he works with them. Because some of these people are young, right? Like if you're going to get in shape for law enforcement, firefighter, military, we just take it that you're probably starting your career a little bit younger. And unfortunately, some people come to us last minute, right? Hey, I got a test in 3 months, dude. I'm like, oh, dang. Some people haven't even taken a test. So I'm kind of curious, just we can have a conversation, Mike, and I know, but for everybody else, where do you start with these clients and what's kind of your take on how to get in shape for a PT test? And let's give a time frame. Let's say 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, you're going to need realistically at least 3 to 6 months. Could it be done sooner? Yes, but that's only with somebody that's willing to absolutely follow everything you say and that someone is totally bought in on the processes and that doesn't have their own old school views on training. Because that's what you see sometimes is you'll have somebody that isn't in shape, doesn't know how to get in shape, but will have these views in their head, be like, "Oh no, I should be doing this, 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 this."
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because they're not ready. So how would they know how to get ready? You know what I mean? But one of the biggest things that I see the people that have trouble with running and push-ups and calisthenics, and if they focus on too much is the running, the push-ups, and the calisthenics. What they lack is like a training base, and they don't realize that you need everything nowadays. These tests aren't just how it used to be in the military or where it's just basic stuff. They're incorporating more functional lifts now. They're incorporating strength endurance, muscular endurance, and you kind of need to be not a one-trick pony. You need to be very well-rounded. And if you're bad at some of these skills, they take time. Push-ups for girls, very challenging. If you're only doing 6 of them and you're like, hey, I think I'm going to try to get 30, you better have a really intelligent program. And it's not going to be just doing push-ups because you need to break these exercises and these skills down into pieces and really prioritize what you're the worst at first to fill in all the holes, and then you can start doing regular training like most people do.
Sure. And I give you guys some background too, whether you know this or not. I know we have a lot of people joining from this group, so you might be new. I was a PTL in the Air Force when I was active duty Air Force. So I was a physical training leader. And one of not my main job, okay, but my special duty was training people that failed their PT test. If you're in the military, you get voluntold to do a lot of things. So I was voluntold to do it. But you know what? It was a great thing because I got to work with men, women, 30 years old, 50 years old, master sergeants, officers. And I got to see like different body types and kind of what Mike's saying, like what your weaknesses are. And I can tell you this, so many times people are actually focused on the like aesthetics of it while trying to do the goal. Like if you're within 3 to 6 months, nothing else matters besides the performance aspect. So you can join. Will your aesthetics change? Like, will you lose body fat and gain muscle? Probably. Usually happens. But like that shouldn't be your primary goal. And Mike made a really good point. I can't tell you how many times I saw people run, do push-ups and sit-ups. And you know what? They were like, maybe they did it 2 months out from their test or something. and they always struggled. Guess what? I got 100% on every single PT test. Do you know how often I ran, did push-ups and sit-ups? Like never. I mean, running, yes, you have to do it because you have to be a little bit specific. Like, you know, I have to have some running mechanics. If you run like a goof, like, you know, and then you never run and you go run. But there's other styles of training that actually would be more effective. And I'll have them walk you through that. But I'm going to kind of share this screen. Let's see. And then we'll kind of do a little bit of training here. I'll see if we can move us down. All right. So what would you say? And I know this is super hard to answer on like a quick training. It's a very broad, but what would you say would be like the best thing if you were to try to train somebody to further like ACFT? Because we do have a lot of people in different branches, but I know the ACFT, the Army is a big one. We have people in Guard and Reserve. What are some things you see within the program of like where people need their improvements? And then obviously, like you said, it's not just like push-ups, sit-ups, run anymore. It's like a drag, or you got to do deadlifts. Like it's way more intensive than when I was back in 2015. So kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, so there are multiple components to it, and I feel like they finally started realizing, hey, this is the military. This isn't like, you know, the Boy Scouts. We need these people prepared because, you know, God forbid there's an attack on base. Even if you're not a combatant, you need to have people that have non-combatant positions to be somewhat prepared and have somewhat endurance and strength and be somewhat overall well-rounded, not just basic calisthenics, because calisthenics are great. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about the handstand push-ups, the planches, all that cool street workout type stuff. But having a 75-pound ruck on your back, or, you know, hey, I need that light machine gun and those 500 rounds of ammunition carried to me now while we're fighting under stress. Different ball game. So you need carry strength. You need to be able to sprint with weight on you, right? You need to be a tactical athlete. So one of the biggest things that you need nowadays is going to be maximum strength. The maximum strength is going to dictate your ability to do all the other things. So we really need to prioritize getting someone as strong as possible, and we can call maximum strength, you know, the most weight that person can lift, like an absolute strength. And this doesn't have to be, you know, powerlifting per se, but they definitely need to lift at least on the trap bar, super heavy. Get them good with some squats, carries, sleds, and a lot of more functional lifts, we can call it.
Very okay. So why would, let's say the sleds, and then you said farmer carry?
Yeah, farmer carries, sled pulls, you know, sled drags, hips on the sled, a lot of Zercher things. So Zercher is a variation of lift where the barbell is held in the crook of your elbows.
Yeah, I mean, I agree too. I think the thing, and is like you said, carries already up there. So we do the carries, sprints, tactical athlete, max strength, trap bar. And yeah, I mean, like there's not a one size fits all. I did a training the other day that was based on like somebody that wants to go 3 days a week, right, to the gym. And it's like, it is hard because well-rounded fitness just means that like, and I think this is the thing that I don't want to say struggle with, but it is challenging when you don't have a lot of time. You're hitting so many components, right? It's like sitting there in your life. And this is why I'm saying, guys, if you're like, oh, I maybe want to join the military. If you're not training a year out, please listen to me. If you're not training a year out, unless you're already in like pretty good shape, if you're like, I'm a gym bro and I go to the gym and I just kind of have to get a little better cardio, whatever, you're probably fine. But if you haven't been doing nothing and you're like 40 pounds overweight, and honestly, a lot of the people we get that want to join the military, I wouldn't say are like egregiously out of shape, but like a lot of them are like, I haven't really done a lot. And you guys are waiting way too long. And it's okay. I'm like, we're good at what we do. So we're going to give the best shot. But like you are working, like I said, strength, endurance, cardio, and agility at the same time. And that although those can be worked into a routine, you have to understand that like you're just still taking your daily energy and you're like dividing it into 4 categories, right? 25%, 25%. And maybe it's not totally even for you. Like Mike said, some of the girls that we get in our program, They really lack strength, but they actually have pretty good everything else. So for them, yeah, we're going to focus more on strength. For a lot of the males, I know their cardio sucks. They're usually pretty strong. So it's like, not that you have to get all these components at 25%, 25%, 25, an even split, but yeah, well, the industry of like tactical fitness is training. And then Mike, I know you're getting your TSAC soon. So, which it's just honestly a certification. He knows how to do it, but, which is a tactical strength and conditioning facilitator. And I've read the whole book and everything. And really it's like, you guys, and I get it. When I was in the military, like I was a mechanic. I never would thought I was going to get in the shit, and I didn't. But the whole point is like, this world's becoming a little more dangerous, and beyond just passing a test, like you should be physically ready. If you're a cop, I don't even need to have that conversation. It could literally happen any day. You better be able to scrap, roll, have good cardio, be explosive. You had to subdue an assailant. Like Mike's brother is actually head of SWAT. So he knows firsthand experience of like what that takes from his brother, right? And so, I mean, like, let me ask you this, Mike, from what your brother goes through, do you feel like, I mean, are there anybody that's even like in his squadron that is not in shape? Or
No, I mean, we could say there's always people that are more self-responsible than others. Some people, they live the life. They're very in shape. They're in the gym all the time. And then, like in any group, you're going to have people that just kind of scrape by. They're not going to be in the greatest of shape, but they're in better shape than most people, we would say. But yeah, you got to think you have to be ready to, it's a lot of, any sort of tactical training, it's preparing you to go from 0 to 100 immediately. So, look at a police officer could be sitting in his car for 6 hours, and then all of a sudden something goes down. He has to get up from a complete rest, to go to a full sprint, possibly get into a firefight, or get into a hand to hand. And this could last anywhere from, a minute up to hours. And we're in Arizona heat. There's been stories where my brother is under the gun, looking through his rifle scope for 3 hours, and he had to have people come and drop off water and stuff. So he's, it's patience, it's extreme endurance, it's everything all at once. And that's what a tactical athlete has to be. You have to be well-rounded. You cannot be a sprinter. You cannot be a long distance person. You have to be able to do everything.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen to you. You can't pick.
Yeah. And let me tell you this, guys, which I know you might be like, okay, dude, I'm not SWAT. Like, I just need to pass my PT test, get to the point. And we're going to tell you some actual tangibles on things you need to focus on. Mike's going to break it down for you in this training. But I know also, if you join this group, you probably want to look good naked. Let's just throw that out there, because I know you looking good aesthetically is also something you probably want in your personal life, right? Being a tactical, well-rounded athlete, I do think two things. Number one, it actually probably makes you look the best physique. Now, if you go do traditional bodybuilding and that's all you do, you possibly could look better. But the thing too is, like, I don't know about you, Mike would probably agree with this. Bodybuilding gets boring, like doing the same lifts, the same compound movements. Tactical athlete's fun. It's like cross fitness. Okay. It's not the sport CrossFit, but it's mixed modal fitness. And I could tell you right now that I feel pretty ready. Like if I were to like get into a brawl at a restaurant because something or somebody came in with a gun, like I would be able to do those things. And I know, like, I don't go through my life eating at a restaurant, like, who do I got to like put down today? But just being fit, feeling physically capable is a very good feeling. Very good feeling. Right. And knowing you can handle yourself in situations. On top of that, if you are a tactical athlete, which I sit at a desk, I'm an online coach and business owner now, but I train pretty similar to a tactical athlete a lot of the times, because I want to be physically ready. And you know what? It's fun. And because fitness is fun, and because I'm like, oh, this is cool, this is a neat style of training, and we're switching things up, and it's hard, right? I'm working hard. I'm more likely to keep doing it. When I did bodybuilding, like that's it. I dreaded going to the gym. Like it got boring and it wasn't fun. And so guess what happened? I stayed less consistent. And because I was less consistent, my results were worse. And I was riddled with injuries, right? Which is the worst thing you guys can have. And I went through years and years of being a PTL in the military, watching people fake their injuries. We all know, okay, we've been there. Oh, my ankle, I got to do the walk because you're 40 pounds overweight. And instead of learning how to get in shape, you're like, oh, I'm going to get a medical waiver. Like, oh, my back. Oh, this. Like, I literally saw that. And if that offends you, I don't know, you can leave the group. But I'm just telling you what I saw. I had people blatantly admit that they're exacerbating or faking their injuries because they didn't want to do the test and they didn't prepare. Don't be that lazy person. Don't be a dirtbag. Sit there and live up to what you can do. And even if you're like, I don't care, I just want to pass, don't you have personal goals like outside? Right? We hope you do. That's what this group is about. But anyways, I'm not going to go into much of the mindset. We'll give you guys some main things you should focus on because you need these four components. And please listen, if you did this combined nutrition, you'll always look better. Like you will look awesome.
Yeah, one thing before we continue this, you were talking about how just passing. I would say that's the worst thing you could possibly train for is to just get the lowest score because real life happens. You want to be over prepared. You want to be the most prepared you could possibly be to make things easier on yourself. You don't want to be sucking wind. You don't want to be miserable the entire time because if one variable goes wrong, you went from just passing to failing. And if let's say you rolled your ankle on the run, and now you have to do all these other activities, and now your strength goes down because now you don't have a stable platform.
Yep.
So you have to prepare for something to go wrong. So you need to be over prepared. So that way, you know what? Hey, I got my run. I kind of rolled my ankle, but I know I'm fast. I know I have good endurance. I'm going to run it. I'm not going to give it my all, but I'll still pass.
Yeah.
That's what your mentality. That's what you want to have.
Yeah. I saw really good people get kicked out of the military. Like they were very good at what their job is just because they were out of shape. And a lot of people would complain like, that's stupid. They could do their job fine. But also your job is being physically capable. I didn't make the rules. Okay. I'm just trying to help you guys crush your career. Go take it up with your sergeant. Go take it up with whoever's in charge of making the rules of you got to pass a PT test, but you knew that before you joined the military or law enforcement or fire. So it just comes with the job. So just get it done. And a lot of, maybe a lot of people in this group are in pretty good shape. Cool. If you still want a badass program to get like in better shape, but real quick, we have only a couple of minutes here, Mike. Let's just run down like 2 bullet points, what you would say with each of these categories that they should be focusing on if they're going to try to pass their test. And again, it's pretty varied because we have people trying to pass all these different ones. We'll just do the ACFT because it's pretty well-rounded.
Yeah, that's pretty common to get a lot of people in the Army. Yeah, so strength, I guess if you had to pick it into 2 bullet points, I would say absolute strength and relative strength. So absolute strength is going to be lifting heavy weight, being good at it, different hinge patterns, squat patterns, right? Being able to manipulate something outside of your body, we can call it. And then relative strength is going to be more of your calisthenics. How many hand release push-ups can you do? Because it's hand release now. Sit-ups, stuff like that. It's a plank test now, but again, a plank is to me the most mundane, boring ab exercise. So obviously, I've done a 26-minute plank for that TV show, and I think the most I planked ever before that, besides the other season, was like 23 minutes to get first place. I think was 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes was the most I ever planked in my entire life. But why was I able to get a 26-minute plank? Because my abs were strong. You don't train for the plank. You train to have crazy strong abdominals, and then you can do the plank by default. So
yeah, 26 minutes. That's pretty crazy, dude. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I only do it if somebody's watching me, and they were. So
yeah, that's a lot of pressure. Like you're on a TV show, there's cameras, and you're like, I can't fail. All right. What about
next to somebody too?
Yeah, no, for sure. What about endurance?
Endurance. All right. So we have muscular endurance, which we could talk about the CPAT or anything the firemen are doing. They start them off just to cook them with a 75-pound weight vest, 3-minute Stairmaster, and I believe it's at a certain pace that they have to keep. So yeah, that would be muscular endurance, and you can see that's obviously more on the absolute strength because they're manipulating something outside their body. Sorry, my fiance's dog thinks he's a German Shepherd. Then you have we can say relative endurance, right? Which would be more like the plank. How long can you do this for? And running, right? Endurance. Your running isn't just about cardio. Can your legs handle running? Can you keep the same pace? So you have, you see it all overlaps.
Okay, cool. What about cardio specifically? I would say almost, especially for like 3 miles or less, I would say having like, at least when I train people, it was like a good amount of like GPP and then a lot of hit. Because if you're just doing this like minimum threshold like jogging, if you don't ever train at like a 80-90%, your lungs are gonna kill you. You want it to be easy. Like you do hit training and then you go on a jog, you're like, ah.
Absolutely. We always train for something that's harder. That way, when you get to the test, you go, "Oh, that wasn't so bad." So cardio, you can say um, really elevated heart rate cardio, high intensity interval training. Sprints, Tabatas, things like that. Maybe even some wads. I'm not a huge CrossFit fan. Uh, that's a whole other story. But metcons, something where you're moving weights for cardio. So like kettlebells, burpees, the whole nine, stuff like
Mhm.
that. And then you have your aerobic base, which is going to be mileage.
Okay. And that's just like that's almost like cardio endurance too, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then what about agility?
We could change agility to speed. It's a pretty agility is more like how can you move around obstacles and stuff like that. That's important too, but you'll get that when you have high GPP. So we'll say speed. Speed obviously huge when it comes to running. You're being timed, so you better be fast. And if you're not, you need the ability to change and pace yourself and know your paces, right? Like know how fast you're running.
Yeah.
Because if you're on a track and you see people blowing by you, you're probably slow, right? You need to speed it up. Also, if you're at a if you're one of those people that are slow to warm up, you might be suffering for your first 0.75 miles, and then for the next 0.75, you have to turn on the jets. So I guess your ability to regulate speed as well, and then you can also talk about explosive power. Now they have a medicine ball toss in the army test. So you have to be able to take a medicine ball and throw it over your head behind you. So you need body awareness, and you need power, which
Yeah.
you need explosive force and you need power.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. Well, I know this is a lot to take in, guys. We can continue the conversation, in the comments, and once we're done with the video, we'll get to all the comments. But like this is a general overview, and I know we're not like, hey, do 3 sets of this. I mean, this training would have to be like an hour and a half, 2 hours long. But here's some overview, right? And it's not to confuse you guys, but like training specific for tactical stuff is complicated. The book for the TSAC-F is like this thick, okay? It's a lot to take in because there are a lot of components. And if you think that you're just going to, this is my recommendation. I think Mike would agree. Please don't just like, I mean, I know the Army has some recommendations and there's some like cookie cutter training programs. Even if it really is a good program on paper, you have to think of the execution. Like, are you doing it? Are you actually executing? Are you, and if you have a short amount of time, like 6 months or less, I would just say, go get a coach, even if you don't work with us, because you need somebody to like, all right, dude, it's go time. Like you have all this writing on it, you have your career, you have all this. So I would highly suggest just making sure you're getting it done. But yeah, as a tactical athlete, there's a lot of components. I honestly think some of our tactical athletes look the best too. And I can tell you that if I train like this, which I generally do right now, I'm definitely less on like doing specific like cardio and running because I don't need to, but I do some hit, I do some training, I do sleds, I do a lot of compound movements. I do a lot of supersets. And I'm not as functional as Mike, but like Mike is stronger than me and he looks great. Um, like I think most men, specifically women too, but most men we work with, when they describe what they want to be like, it's literally a tactical athlete. They go, oh, I want to be strong, but I also kind of want to be lean. But I really like to also focus on mobility and I want my cardio to be okay. I'm like, okay, so you want to be a tactical athlete. And a lot of our people train specifically for that, even if they're not getting ready for an event, because it is like CrossFit. The only big problem with CrossFit is very random. What we do is very structured and organized. So less injuries, better results generally.
Yeah,
But anyways, what's up?
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
CrossFit's a little bit more like, hey, I came up with this 10 minutes ago. We're just gonna do a bunch of random shit and maybe too many skills all at once, and then you get subpar training and everything. So you'll be
Yeah.
pairing somewhat heavy lifting with like a rower or something, and
Yeah.
it's not how it's going to be in real life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you jumping on, Mike. We don't want to make this training go too long, but if you guys have specific questions, if you have a test coming up, let us know. And if you do feel like, all right, I need to have like, I need like actual structured programming. I need accountability. That's what we offer. But if not, you can use these trainings for free. We have guides, we have things. You can pick my brain, you can message us, and we'll be good to go. So appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for jumping on, dude. And then, yeah, if you want to find Mike, you can find him. It's at the Neuro Strength Coach on Instagram. Yeah, you can find him, watch he does a lot of educational videos. He's always posting content every day, and then we'll get going. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Deuce, bro.